We're just going live. Wait a second, I'll tell you when you'll probably see it go live. It's just doing it. Boom, boom, boom. Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Okay, if you're on Facebook, we should be publishing.
Okie dokie. There we are. Fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. Tonight, I am joined by Stephen Carbaron. And Stephen is a, excuse me, a serial entrepreneur and a world citizen and protagonist for world peace. Born in the UK, he's also lived and worked all over the world, including Russia, Spain, Chile, France, Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, USA, and China. Don't think I've missed any there. And tonight we're going to be talking about goal mapping and some of the things that Stephen does. And I cannot wait to get into this conversation. I think that's enough for me, though. So can you please introduce yourself and what it is that you do?
Yeah, hi there. Well, thanks very much, Natalie. Thanks very much for inviting me on and giving me the opportunity to share this. And it couldn't be a better time of year to share what I'm going to share with you. So as we come to the end of this year and the beginning of the next year, this is a great time to be thinking. I really always say, for me, when I get to Christmas time, New Year time, it's a great time to reflect on what's happened the year before and set goals for the year ahead. And maybe beyond, but certainly for the year ahead. So I think this is a great time to come on, and I really believe that part of a healthy life is a healthy mindset, and having so this is where we can really get the focus. And I know that you're all about health and well-being, and this is all about health and well-being. So the primary area, if you haven't got a healthy mindset, it doesn't matter what exercise you're doing, it doesn't matter how fit you're keeping your body. We still hear people having breakdowns and having issues because they haven't got their mind in the right place. So this is really important for everybody. And what I wanted to start on, as I say, is that first of all, before we look forward, it's a really good idea to look back, because this has been a very special year for all of us. This has been a very challenging year for all of us. And I'd like to point out a few points here. So first of all, this is 2020. And that's a very special year because I always look at numbers. I like numbers as well. And I think there's lots of things, astrology, numbers, it's all part and parcel of everything that goes on in our life. But if we look at the numbers, if we look at the year 2020, we have a millennium and a decade matching up. Now, the last time that we had a century and a decade matching up, that was 1919. Now, there may be a few of your listeners who were alive then, but I think the majority of us, even me, I wasn't alive in 1919. So this is my first time that I've had a millennium and a century and a decade match up. But if we go to the millennium and the decade, 2020, the last time that those matched up was 1010. And that was the only time before 00, which was when it all started. So this really, on that basis, if you look at it that way, this is a very special year.
Yeah, wow.
Add to that what's just happened this week. I'm not sure if you're aware, but if you love astrology, and as I say, I think that all these things are connected. I'm very much into the world of connection. If you look at astrology this week, we had the Great Conjunction. And the Great Conjunction is when Jupiter and Saturn lined up, the two biggest planets in our solar system, when they lined up and they were nearly together on the 21st, which was the equinox, which is the shortest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, longest day of the year, obviously, in the southern hemisphere. But this was a great moment because, again, it happened in Aquarius, and we've probably all heard about the age of Aquarius coming. So there's so much change going on right at this time. And this year has certainly been a year that everybody's life has changed. Unexpected change. stuff we were not expecting. If we'd have been sitting here 1 year ago doing this very same talk, just 1 year ago, we would not have been able to predict what happened during 2020 and how much it changed our lives. And it changed our lives so much. So first of all, what I want to do is I want to give everyone 4 very, very basic things to focus on, to take out of this year with them. So we're now coming out of the year. We're nearly there. We're 1 week away from the end of the year. And this is something it's a 30-day preparation for you going into the new year. So I'd like you, first of all, tonight, before you go to bed, I'd like you just to do this exercise, which is write down your favorite memories from 2020. I know it might be hard, but go back and think. And when you start focusing on it, you'll find there are some things that were your favorite memories. What were your favorite things, even if it was from January or February, before we really knew what was going on with the whole COVID-19 situation. So write down your favorite memories. And after you've done that, I want you to put 3 or 4 at least of each of these. And then next thing is you write down the things you're most grateful for from this year. Things that you're most grateful for. And it can be, there's loads of things. And just to give you some clues, the fact that you're here today, be grateful for that, because unfortunately some people aren't. The fact that you're able to sit here and watch this. So things that you're grateful for. And then the lessons you've learned. Think about, what have you learned this year? New skills, maybe, new things that you're aware of. Maybe you've learned to just be a little bit more calm, and that, material things don't matter so much. Whatever it is, but we've all learned, because a year of change like we've had, we must have learned some things. So think about what you've learned. And then lastly, think of what you're proud of. What have you done? Try and focus and find some things that you've done that you're proud of, because at the moment, most people have gone through this year and said, they just want to get rid of 2020. But think about those 4 things, your favorite memories, the things you're grateful for, lessons you've learned, and things you're proud of, and write them down. And then every night before you go to bed, just read through that list and focus on it before you go to sleep. That way you'll go to bed with a slightly more positive mindset, and do this for 30 days, because between 30 and 40 days, we can build habits. So if we build a habit of a positive mindset, we will be waking up in the morning, we will be generating a more positive way of thinking. We'll be focused on, even if they're just a few things out of the year, but at least we're focused on what positive things have happened, and we'll be taking that into the next day with us. And when we think in a positive way, we attract positive things. So just by doing this exercise, we will start to create positivity around ourselves, and that will then knock on and will attract positivity into our lives, and then we'll share that with the people around us. And that effect will then affect them, and they'll share it with the people around them, and so on and so forth. So just a great way to start off the year by getting a bit more of a positive mindset and moving into next year with this positive attitude. And seeing that even in what most people are going to say was the worst year of their lives, actually, there was quite a lot of positive stuff happened.
I agree with that completely.
So this is my first thought, and this is something that now I'll take you on. So that's how we're going to reframe 2020 and make it something that's actually still has a lot of positive stuff going on. And then coming out of that, and now we'll talk a little bit about goal mapping, because most people come into a new year, and we come in, and we have our New Year's resolutions. What are we going to do? What are we going to change? A lot of it's fitness. Quite a lot of people will sort of sign up to, loads of people sign up to the gym because maybe they ate too much at Christmas. And I don't know if we're all going to have those big Christmas dinners, but I'm sure people are. But if they don't have a Christmas dinner, I think, unfortunately, the majority of people have spent a lot of time sitting around at home and probably put on a couple of pounds this year that they want to shed. So they may be thinking when the gyms do open, they'll sign up to a gym, or they'll get a fitness regime, or you'll join Natalie with one of her amazing online classes, because if you can't get to a gym, then I really strongly recommend finding people like Natalie who are sending out this positive energy. And why not Natalie? I mean, you know her, so I would be doing her NH training. But you're going to make a resolution to do something to get you fit, physically fit, which is a great thing. But we maybe get to the end of January, February, when we were going to the gym, we tend to sort of tail off. Or if we've got a fitness regime or something that's our New Year's resolution, we tend to lose way with it because we're not focused. Because, yeah, we make that great decision, but we don't have anything that really keeps us on a absolute line and focused to make it happen every day or every week or however often we're sort of saying we're going to do it. Goal mapping really can help you. Now, as I say, most people that you've done goal setting, and I'll ask you, Natalie, one of the things that I love about goal mapping is the fact that it uses the whole brain and the way that this works. So if I ask you to think of a beach, think of the word beach, and can you tell me what's the thing that comes into your head when you think of the word beach?
Sand and sea.
Sand and sea. And does it look nice?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Especially
And we're
right
probably
now.
all missing it a little bit. I'm not, because I actually live close to the beach. That was a world choice of mine and something that came out of my first goal map, which I'll tell you about a little bit later. But you thought about sand and sea. Now, when you take that picture that you've got in your head of sand and sea, does it just say beach to you?
No.
What can it say? What else can it be?
Holiday, break, relaxation.
Right. So this is what happens with most people. When you say think about the word beach, we tend not to think of the word beach, B-E-A-C-H. We tend to have a picture. It might have palm trees, it might be, but when we take that picture and we look at that picture, it doesn't necessarily just say beach. It becomes a little bit ambiguous, and maybe it's a holiday, maybe it's relaxation or something else. So when you take that picture, and now if I ask you to stick the word underneath, B-E-A-C-H, now is it very clear what that picture means?
Yeah.
When you put the word underneath. So when we bring words and pictures together, it gets rid of the ambiguity and it makes it something that you can really focus on. So goal mapping is all about that. Unlike most goal setting techniques, you don't just have words written down in phrases, but you have your affirmation, your phrase written down, and then you add a picture to it. And this way you actually create you get both sides of the brain working together. You get your logic side, it's affected by the words, and your creative side, which is affected by the pictures. And it's not as simple as left and right side, although it's a nice way to look at it. I know the neurologists in the audience will be thinking, no, there's more to it than that, but we're going to keep it simple for everybody else. So if we just say we've got the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain, the logic left and the right creative, when they're both working together, we actually get much more powerful, and we really create a much better opportunity to reach our goals and see our goals. So this is the first part, is to take those two sides of it and make them work together. The reason that we create a goal map and the way that it works is, and there's sort of 7 steps. If I take you through the steps that we do, so we do the dream basis. So what you do is you sit back and you dream big. When you create a goal, think of something that you want to achieve so it's not just that easy, so don't make it sort of something that's simple, but also don't make it something that's out of your reach completely. But make it something that's a little bit higher than you generally think you can achieve. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to step up. So have a dream, have a think. Actually, sometimes it's a really good idea if you meditate to do a little meditation before setting your goals. If you don't meditate, put on some soft music and just sit and relax. And have a think about what you really want, and have a little bit of a daydream, if you like, so that you actually really sort of dream something and you get into, make it something nice. And when you dream about it, don't just think about, oh, I'd like a nice new house. If you want a nice new house, think about what the house is going to be like. Think about, oh, what's it going to be like when I walk in there? How am I going to feel when I walk in there? Picture how you're going to decorate it, how it's going to smell. See some people in there, see your family in there, or your friends in there. Whether it's other people who you'd like to live with, or who you'd like to be with, whether they already exist or whether they don't. You can already make things up as well. Just make it up because it's maybe going to be a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan. But really picture it, decorate the house, give it some color. So when you walk in, think about what the walls are going to be like. Where's your comfy chair? Where's the chair you're going to sit in? How's the kitchen laid out? Really make sure that you sort of put some fine detail in there, because the more detailed your goals are, the more opportunity that you're going to actually get them, because the brain starts to really focus and work on that picture. Now, you might not get everything exactly as you pictured it, but you'll get a lot closer to it. So the idea is also get the sensations, get the feelings. How are you going to feel about it? So, when you walk in the door, you're going to be quite proud of this house. You're going to feel comfortable there and cozy. Is it somewhere that you want to take your friends to? And think of it in that way, because again, that's going to build up the picture a little bit more. So when you've got these pictures and that's your house, then your dream job, maybe your dream career, your dream relationship, all of these things can be in your goal map, and they should all be there. Or it can be a shorter one, just for a 6-month or 1-year one, if you just want to get fit and you sort of say, okay, I've got fitness goals that I want to achieve. So, but see yourself as being there. So the next thing that's really important is to think in terms that when you create a goal, that you've created, I always say, with the 3 Ps. It should be positive, it should be personal, and it should be present. So when you have the 3 Ps, basically you're creating something in a very positive way. The reason it should be positive is, again, apologies to the neurologists in the audience, but we're going to simplify things. We've got several billion brain cells in our head. And if you can imagine that when the brain cells sort of talk to each other, they sort of connect. So if you have a thought, what happens is you send an electrical pulse of energy, goes from one brain cell to the other, and they start to connect. And they build up a little track in your brain that takes that thought from being a thought into an idea, and then it becomes a belief. And the stronger, the more often you think about it, it actually can start to become a reality, because you start creating it as a reality in your head. And that's when we start creating it as a reality in our lives. So a little analogy of this, if you think in terms of go to a field, like with high grass, so it's up to here, and you can't see through it, but you know where you want to get to. You've got to get across the field. So the first day you get there, what you're going to do is you're going to work your way across the field. You're going to push the grass aside. You're going to tread some grass down, and you're going to get to the other side. And then you come back tomorrow, and some of the grass has come back up again, but you can sort of make your way across and see there's still some of your footsteps there. If you keep going back every day and walk that same path, eventually what's going to happen is that's going to become a clear pathway. You're going to walk the same place. And what's going to happen after about 30 days or so is actually the grass won't grow back where you've been walking. We've all been into country walks and across fields and things, and you can see where people walk on the same track. And it actually, what happens eventually is the grass doesn't grow back on that track. And it's a similar idea with when you have thought patterns. If you think about the same thing, if you focus on the same thing on a daily basis and keep thinking in a positive way, and the reason for positivity is that you release endorphins that are going to make that positive thought travel and stay going, instead of releasing cortisol. If you have negative, the fear, the fight or flight drug that gets released, which is cortisol, tends to block things. It blocks thought, because it's just says, okay, you shouldn't be thinking now. I'm going to send all the blood to the muscles. You need to be strong. You need to be able to run. You need to be able to basically fight or run. So it's the negative thoughts don't create that sort of nice flow and pathway. So if you keep everything positive, you create these pathways, neural pathways in the brain. And the idea is, as I say, start to become actual beliefs. And when we believe something, when it becomes a habit, we start doing things that make it happen. The brain doesn't like to be wrong. If it believes something's going to happen, it tends to make it happen. There's a famous saying from Henry Ford that whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right.
I love that saying. That is a fantastic saying.
And it's just so true. You know, really, if you don't think you can do something, you're probably not going to be able to do it. You probably won't even attempt it. But even if you do attempt it, your mind will be just making it not work out. If you really believe you can do something, you'll go out of your way to make it happen.
Yeah. For me, when I'm doing some weightlifting with clients, when I'm increasing their weight, I don't tell them, because I know that they can do it, and I know we've got all the safety measures in place. I know their technique's right. I know it's safe. So I don't tell them. I sneak the weight on. And then when they do it, if it was easy, I sneak more on. And then when they do it, more on. And then they get to a point where I'm like, right, okay, that was challenging. I'll stop and I'll go, did you know that was this much heavier than last week? And they're like, no, when did you do that? But because I didn't tell them, they just did it because they knew they could do it because they'd lifted it before, as far as they knew. And it's fantastic. Get some great results with that.
It's absolutely, and this is the whole thing. I think, you know, if you really do get people to believe something, that they're able to do it. So as you say, if they've already lifted it, they believe they can lift it, and therefore they'll continue to lift it. So it's definitely the way forward to do it. So that's the reason why we need to have positive thinking there. The reason why we need to make it in the present tense. This is a little trick of like a mind trick. So if you put something in the present tense, you tell the mind you've already achieved something. Again, it's the same thing. It's going to believe it. And the mind doesn't like to be wrong. So when we tell our brain that I have an amazing house, or I have my dream career, or I've got to the world championship and done something, you actually start to believe it. Whereas if you say, I want to do something, well, the brain says, okay, when you get to the end of your time period, you're still going to want to do it because that's the goal that you set for yourself. So when we set a goal, we set the goal that we've already achieved it and put it in the present tense. And the reason we always do it in the personal is we can't set goals for other people. We can't set a goal for someone else. I've got my son, he's 9 years old, he'll be 10 next month. And like, you know, I'd love to set goals for him, but I can't. I know he'll be the man he's going to be. I can set goals for myself to help him. I can say that, you know, I want to give him the best opportunities in life. I want to do things, but really how he turns out is not up to me. It's going to be up to him. It's only up to me to give him the best tools to hopefully turn out the way I'd like him to turn out. But at the end of the day, we've just got to accept that, you know, we've all got parents. I'm not going to say we've all got kids because we haven't, but we've all got parents, and our parents sometimes have a different view of how they wanted this to turn out. Now, that doesn't mean we've let them down or anything, because, you know, we are our own people. But if they gave us the right tools, if they did their best for us, then we're going to turn out in the best way possible.
Absolutely.
So, but trying to set goals for other people, it's not on. So make it personal. So it's always I am, I have, I'm doing something. It's always in the positive. So it's never I'm going to give up something or something like that. It's always I've done it, I've achieved it, because you should already have achieved it. And that's the way to sort of set the goals. So you put them in this order of that. And once you've done this, once you've got your dream, once you've got set your affirmations, you start placing it in order so that you have your key goal, your central goal. And the way the goal maps are set out, you have your central goal, which is the main thing, main objective of what you want to achieve. And then around it, you have 4 complementary goals. So these are goals that are going to help you achieve or support what you want to achieve. So maybe they're areas that you're going to actually do things on the side. So it might be all about having the best job, but then, you know, you might say, well, I've got a really nice house. Well, that's something that's going to come from having the best job, and they sort of link together because if you've got everything you wanted from the point of view of career, you're going to actually have the house that you want. You're going to have the relationships that you want. But you're also going to put in other things that you want that are going to help maybe support having that best job. Maybe it might be getting the right degree or something like that, depending on your age and where you are in your career path. So all of those things. So you have your order placed in now. And the next thing is all about these pictures. So when you start creating the goals, you've got your affirmations in the positive, present, and personal. As we said before about the beach, that example, you now need to put some pictures in there. So the best way to create the pictures I've found, you can do several different methods. With goal mapping, it's an online system, which we'll talk about a little bit later, how you can get online and see how it all works. But it's an online system. You place your affirmation, and then there's an option either within the goal mapping library, there's lots of pictures there. There's 2 libraries of pictures that you can create and take them from there. Or alternatively, you can go online, and I find a great way to find the right picture is to just go into Google search, drop my affirmation in there, and press on the images section underneath Google search as an images, and you'll get hundreds of images, and you'll usually find there's an image that will pop up that will resonate with you, and that will be the image that sort of really for you just focuses you on what your affirmation was. The other way, of course, is it might be something personal. So you might have the picture already in your own library within your computer, or it might be about a friend or something like that, or someone that you know that's going to help you with things, or your dream house. You might already have your dream house in mind. It might be the place that you drive past on your way to work every week, and that's your dream house. And you've just been thinking, yeah, well, I'd love a house like that. I'd love that. So go and take a picture of it, upload it into your computer, and then you can put it on the online system and put it in the library, and then you can put it into your goal map. Or you might be a fantastic artist. I'm not. I draw stick men. So if I do art, it very, very rarely represents or resonates with my affirmation. It usually looks like the only thing I probably should do a goal map about being a good artist, because that might help. But if you are an artist, if you are good at art, it's a great idea. You can draw the pictures yourself, and then of course you can scan them into your computer, upload them, take photographs of them, upload them, and put them in, and then they can be uploaded straight onto the goal map. Or you can print out the goal map template and then handwrite in your affirmations and do the drawings yourself directly onto the template. The reason I like to use the online system, which we'll come to a bit later, but the reason it works so well is you can update it. So you can change it, and if you reach your goals early, you can change it. If you haven't reached them, or life changes, if you do a longer map, that's a 5-year map, you might find after 1-2 years, some of your goals change because your life shifts in certain ways, and you might want to change things. So that's a great thing about doing it online. Once you've got that in place, your 5 main goals, you then have to think about why you want to achieve what you want to achieve. Because one of the most important things in life is actually not about material things. We think it is, but actually most things are really about the emotions that it gives us. So if you have the why, I always remember my son, and I watched him, Christmas time, get loads and loads of gifts. And it was always so much fun for him to open up. And the more gifts he had, the more fun he had, opening up all these gifts. And then you get to something like March, April, and you suddenly realize that half the things that he was so happy to have received, he hasn't even played with. In fact, he had more fun when he was younger playing with the packing and the wrapping paper and the boxes.
Absolutely, yeah. Playing with the boxes first.
Exactly. You buy them this amazing Scalextric set and it doesn't get touched, and you're not allowed to play with it, but they have great fun with the box.
Definitely. I have that with my cats. I buy my husband something and my cats are all over the boxes.
Exactly. Because it's about the emotion. It's about receiving something. I mean, you're a girl. I mean, how many times you've gone and bought a pair of shoes or something and you wore it once and never wore it again because you loved getting it? Because when you saw it, it was great. And sorry, I didn't mean to be anti-boy.
No,
girls just tend to do it more than us guys. I think it's a thing, but I have done it as well. I've also bought things sometimes because I really like it and then really not used it very often because I like it so much. But it's about the emotion that you're buying things, not about the things. So often we buy things down on emotions. So often we do things based on emotions. So it's really important to have a why. So again, we've got three of the goals that you do in the goal mapping are all about why. What's the emotion it's going to give you? Maybe it's about helping the world. Maybe it's about being happy with your family. Maybe it's about how you're going to feel, what's going to make, doing something that's going to make you feel good. So these are all about feel good goals. And then what you do is you have your when. So down the middle, you're going to have your start date and your finish date. And the reason we have that is if we don't have a finish date for a goal, it's just an idea. If we don't set a time that we're going to finish it. Now, again, that can change, but if we don't have it in there, then it's just an idea. And actually the brain will never work towards getting it done because
I've actually heard that before. And that's something that my coach says. He doesn't use those words, but when I've, especially this year, when I've got a competition coming up, he'll say to me, yes, the competition might get cancelled because of the situation we're in, but we are going to train as though that date is set in gold, and we're going to train you to that date. Then if it gets moved, we're either ahead of schedule, or if it gets cancelled, we're ahead of schedule. And then we can start your next plan sooner rather than later, and you're ahead and you're prepared, ready for when the next date comes up. And that's what he does with my training. So that's something that I tend to do with my clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So putting in dates is very important. And then what's also really important is the how section. So again, you have 3 how goals. And the reason that's important is that's what you're going to start doing today.
Yeah.
And again, if you have goals, but you don't take action, as much as we've talked about the mindset and everything else there, you still do need to take action. You still need to do something about it. You still need to get up the next morning and know what you're going to start doing. And then there's another section is the who. And so this is about who you're going to do it with, who's going to help you. So once you know what you're going to do, you then also have the who's going to help you. And this can be your trainer. This could be a society, a group. It could be a book that you're going to read. It doesn't actually have to be a person who. It can be something that you're going to actually go into a society. It might be, but it could be anything that's going to actually help you achieve the how, start getting towards the hows.
Yeah, and presumably you could use a different who with it when your how changes, in terms of when you hit your next step, your who could change.
Yeah. And again, this is the beauty of the online system. You can change those things as you go. So what you're going to do is you're going to have all of this in place. So you do it online. There's very fortunately, the whole thing was designed before this year as an online system. So this year's been a great year because it's an opportunity to use it and do everything online. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to draw things out, and you can update it as you go. So if you go into the online system, you create the goal map on there. Then the next idea is you take the goal map once you've created it and finished it, put all your pictures in, got it all ready, and then you print it. So you print it out and you'll get a goal map like this. This is one that I've done, that I actually did for the COVID period, in March. And you can see here, so you can see all the sections. You've got in the middle, you've got the central goal, and then the 4 sections around it. Across the top is the feelings and emotions side, and the why. And then you've got down the side, on this side here is the how, and down this side here is the who. And this is an interesting one. The one at the bottom, this is my Toastmasters one. So this was done in March, and this was after we had our first Toastmasters. That's the picture of our first Toastmasters online meeting, because obviously everything went online. And I actually put in that my one here is that I'm an online presenter and public speaker. And so that was back in March. In March, I'd just done that one Toastmasters event. So I hadn't done anything online. Since then, I've worked through, and this was 12 months. So actually, December 31st is when that map's going to finish. But since then, I've been on several worldwide presentations where I've spoken. I was on a big event last month, which was the Love, Peace and Harmony event. I spoke in front of on an event that's been looked at by over 17,000 people with a guy called Krishnaji, where I was asking questions on his event. I've been creating and presenting on various podcasts like this. And I've also very pleased to say that actually in March, I had no intention of being an officer or doing anything the following year in my Toastmasters club. But what happened is in July, I decided to help the club move forward, that I'd go for the presidency, and I was elected president of my Toastmasters club. And we're probably one of the strongest clubs in Barcelona, because I really felt it was important to lead it properly. So it just shows how this really can work. So in a very short space of time, things that I hadn't really thought about until I did the goal map really have started to happen. It is super powerful. Something else that you do here is you sign it in the middle. That gives the commitment. You can see there, I've just put my signature in. That gives a commitment to the brain. So when we sign things, we feel committed. And then every day, for a minimum of 30 days, but I keep it with me anyway for longer than that, but a minimum of 30 days, have a look at it, read the affirmations out loud, look at the pictures, and do this on a daily basis. So you really create that habit, you really create that neural pathway that takes your thoughts and your ideas into beliefs, and then eventually they really do become realities.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to go through some of the comments because we have got quite a few. So Heather has said 2020 has taught us to expect the unexpected. Definitely true. Shaquille's jumped on. Hi, Shaquille. I'm pretty sure you're good friends with Shaquille, aren't you?
Yep, big wave Shaquille. In fact, it was through him that we met in the first place.
Actually, yeah, definitely. So thanks, Shaquille. And we do have an artist on as well. Mitra's on. Hi, Mitra. Mitra is a meditation teacher. And we've got Riz on with us as well. So fantastic. Let's have a look. We've got no questions come through yet. So
okay. If anyone has any questions on this or would like some enlightenment about it and to know anything further, either pop your questions down now, but also you can contact me directly if people want to get on. Best way is probably through LinkedIn. They can get onto my name. I'm very fortunate that I am unique. So if people can see my name, or if not, they have a look somewhere else, that I am the only Stephen Carbaron in the world. So you can Google search me, you will find me. You can go onto Facebook or LinkedIn and you will find me. I think also, Natalie, I've given you the goal mapping link to my coaching page that people can link in and have a look at goal mapping online themselves, and have a look at it and see. You can go on through that link. You can go to the website and create your own goal map for free. There's no charge, and you can do it all online. So there's no need to do anything further than that. But if people do want to get in touch with me and would like me to give them a bit of guidance on that, I'm quite happy to coach them through it as well. So they can always drop me a line at any of those places to get some help on it.
I've just popped the link in the comments so everybody can find you. No problem.
Brilliant. So I think, so as going back to where we started, really important to get our mindset right, because everyone has had a shift in their mindset this year. We've really seen a big change. A lot of change has gone on, and actually change is one of the biggest things that creates opportunity. So with that change, as much as a lot of people might see it as a negative changes have gone on in their lives, focus on the positive changes, find out where the opportunities are, create a goal map of what you really want, whether it's a 6-month goal map for short term, maybe a slightly longer term one. You can do them for 10 years. In fact, the first time I did it was I did a 10-year goal map at a Tony Robbins event. It was Date with Destiny back in 2006. And I remember when I was doing another event with a lot of Russians. I lived in Russia for 11 years. When I took some Russians to a Tony Robbins event, and we were talking about my goal map from 10 years earlier, and most of it had come true. And at that time, it was quite materialistic. As I said, I lived by the beach. that was one of my goals, was to live by the beach. So it materialized literally 10 years later. So it really does work. And when I found out the guy who sort of invented this whole this system, let's call it, because there's lots of goal setting systems and there's lots of great ways to do it. So I'm not saying this is the only way to set your goals, but it's a really great way. When I met him and he trained me and took me through to becoming a master practitioner of goal mapping and the master coach, I was very fortunate because I learned the skills of something that I'd already started doing. So as you probably know, when you really get down to learn the science behind what you're doing and you've been doing anyway, it's a really great way to sort of give you some authority on it and give you a real positive way of feeding forward on it. So I would really recommend this to everybody. Great time to get a positive mindset. And make sure that things happen correctly for you in the right way going forward into 2021, because this is now we are in a changed world. Whether you want to believe in the age of Aquarius, whether you want to believe that 2020 was a special year, whether you want to believe that COVID-19, whatever it is, came about however you think it did, it doesn't matter what you want to believe, because actually we only believe what we decide to believe and what we're influenced by from around us. Everything can be true. So what's most important, if that is a fact that everything can be true, is focus on something positive, believe in the positive, and you'll get great positive results out of the rest of your life.
Cool. Right, so we do have some questions coming in.
Go ahead.
First of all, a comment from Shaquille. Goal mapping is probably the best system of goal setting and life and business productivity management.
Absolutely. I would back you on that, Shaquille. And in fact, we one of the things that we did meet over was when Brian Main came up to Birmingham to talk and present about goal mapping at the Yes Group meeting that Shaquille was organising up there. So he was part of our meeting as well.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a question from Meet. We've actually got two questions from Meet Trav, but we'll start off with question one. Pleased to meet you here, Stephen. I saw the list of countries you have been to. I didn't see India. Is that in the planning?
Well, I have been to, so those were countries I've lived or worked in. I have been to India. I was in India last year at Ekam, which is a place, it's about an hour and a half drive from Chennai, going south. And it's a meditation center, one of the big meditation centers in India. And I was visiting, and I worked very closely with a lady called Preet Haji. So Sri Preet Haji and her husband, Sri Krishnaji, formed, you might know it as One World Academy or Ono Academy. These are the old names for it. They now go under PK Consciousness and Ekam, and they've written a book. And actually, I brought her to several events, both in England last year to the Yes Group, and several online events recently, and I'm working very closely with them. So I do believe that I will be spending a lot more time in India over the coming years.
Oh, fantastic. I'm pretty sure Mitra will have something to say about that, definitely. And question two, I'm very keen to understand more about your work on world peace. For hundreds of years, we keep talking, promoting about world peace, but it looks to be getting worse every day. Thank you, and I really appreciate all your work. I will watch the interview on replay again, as I was a little bit late. Lots of love. So
okay, well, thank you for that. And my work on world peace, will don't get fooled by the press. We have to remember that we are going through possibly the most peaceful time, certainly in a long time, but maybe in existence, maybe other than the great peaceful period of the Roman Empire. But this is, if we actually look, there's less people dying because of homicides, there's less people dying because of wars, there's less people dying now than has happened in such a long time. I mean, within some people who are still alive's lifetime, we've had 2 world wars. Certainly not that many were around in the First World War, but quite certainly my parents were around in the for the World War, the Second World War. We have not had wars on those scales, and we are not having that sort of period. So we actually are going through one of the most peaceful times in man's existence. So don't be fooled by all the press that tends to highlight the negatives in the world, because that's how they sell newspapers, because we don't really like hearing about peace, but peace is around us. And there's a great opportunity right now to be peaceful in ourselves and move that forward, because actually what this year has brought is a lot more peace and quiet.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. What a great way to look at it.
Well, I try and look at it always in a great way.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. You know, I've not heard anybody really talk about it in that way, and that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And Mitra, thank you for your questions. Okay, so we've got a question from Heather. You talk about doing goal maps for 1, 5, 10 years. Can you also do different goal maps for each area in your life too?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I usually suggest to people, and what I've done, is I've created a global goal map, if you like, so a longer term 5-year or 10-year goal map. And then what you can do is you can take each of those goals and create a goal map. So you might take so for example, the one I mentioned about developing an online speaking area in my life. I could then take that and put that as a central goal and create a goal map just around online speaking, and then create the areas around that I need to work on and how I can really push that forward. So we can do that and become more focused, and we can do it on any area of our life. So there's people who are got addictions, so it's being used there. They create much shorter plans, because of course when you've got addictions and you want to get rid of them, it's a day-by-day process. It's not sort of a 1-year process or a 2-year process. You really need to be monitoring it on a daily basis. You've got people who maybe want to lose weight, who want to create, so Weight Watchers and people like this have used this planning as well. So yes, it can be done and put to any part of your life, and the length of time can be adjusted depending on whether it's sort of a global lifestyle goal map or whether it's a short-term need to do something. There's people doing it, especially with a lot of the MML, multi-level marketing companies. They're using it as well, and they obviously have very short month by month, because if they want to create where they want to be in a month or where they want to be in 3 months. So all different size and different styles can be used, yeah, to fit any part of business or life.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And me and Heather must be synced, because that was actually my question. I don't know. I think we are synced in some way though, Heather. I'm pretty sure we figured that out already. Okay, so question from Shaquille. Does goal mapping help with positive mental attitude as well as the planning?
Yeah, I think it can do. I think because whenever you get focused, so the fact that you're being pushed to focus on positive results, this will help you have a more positive attitude and mental attitude towards creating those results. Because if you're already starting thinking the positive, you create, as I said to you before, you create positive results. You then attract more positiveness into your lifestyle and into what's happening around with you. And you will focus more just on the positive aspects of your life. And when we focus on the more positive aspects of our life, we create more opportunity for positive things. We've probably all got that friend from school or wherever who everything was always going wrong for, always focused on the negative, always told you how, would go on holiday. I mean, how many people, I've never been on a holiday that I haven't absolutely enjoyed. I've been on holidays where things have gone wrong, but I've never been on a holiday that I haven't had a great time. But I know people who've been on amazing holidays and had the best time, and they come home and they were so focused on the fact that the food wasn't great, or that there was one little thing wasn't quite right, that it ruined their whole holiday. If you focus on that negative, then you'll end up having negative feelings about something. If you focus on the positive, you'll end up with positive feelings about something. So yes, when we get this goal map done and we focus positively, it will affect our whole mindset, and we'll attract other positive things, and we'll see much more positive things happening in our life.
Fantastic. And do you find that having the goal map, when you have a bad day, because let's face it, we're all human, we have bad days, and we're completely entitled to bad days. Do you find when we've got the goal map with us, that helps to pull us back into that positivity and into that correct frame of mind for that goal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there'll be some people who will say, well, if I've got a goal map and things are not working out. But if you really use it properly, if you do it every day and focus it on it every day, you'll see that there is something beyond there's a little bit of magic going on. So if you think about what's happening in our subconscious, what I always say is, like, you know, you can live in the world or you can live in the universe. The world is finite. It's full of obstacles. It's full of things that can stop us from happening and achieving what we want. But everything is in the universe. So if you accept that everything's already there, and that, if you want that amazing car, you want that amazing house, that house probably exists already, or it's going to be built or whatever. But these things already exist. You getting to there is up to your mindset of making it and creating it to happen. So if you've already set in your mind that it's happened, then you've got rid of that. And then the universe starts happening for you and starts creating the opportunities. And what you do is you start seeing the opportunities because you're focused on it. So a lot of it as well is when you focus on something, you're more aware of the opportunities, you take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you that maybe you just let go straight past you like a ship in the night if you weren't aware of it. So I would definitely say to you, when you create a goal map, you'll see that it actually starts creating and making the things happen that you want to happen.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love how you've worded that. That's brilliant. Really good. Anyway, we are just about to finish off.
Okay.
So, if you've got any more questions, please pop them in the comments, and me and Stephen will both be keeping an eye on it and replying. And yeah, if you want to get in touch, Stephen has told us about how we can get in touch with him already, and his link is in the comments already as well. So, Stephen, thank you so much for joining me. I have really loved this and I've learned so much. I'm actually going to do this when I look at my goals, which is already in my diary for next week, because I've got some massive goals for 2021, just like I did for 2020. So I'll be doing that myself. So guys, if you've got any more questions, please keep them coming in. If you are watching on replay, please hashtag replay so we can keep up with the chat. If you know anybody who will find this useful or you think needs Stephen in their life, please share the link out to them, share this onto your page or share this with a certain person. And if you can, just share it out to where you think it will benefit anybody, then please do that. Okay, guys, so this is actually my last Wellness Wednesday. And what a way to end it. I have been looking forward to this for weeks. But yeah, what a way to end it. Next Wednesday, I am going to be dropping a little teaser out, but it won't be about continuing Wellness Wednesday. So keep an eye on my page for that. And again, Stephen, thank you so much. It's been fantastic, really eye-opening, and I hope that you guys watching have got as much from it or more than what I did. Okay, brilliant, guys. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. Great interview, guys. Thanks, Shaquille. Thanks for jumping on. Stephen.
Happy holidays, everybody. Have an amazing time and have an amazing 2021. It can only get better from here. So let's make sure that that's the case and focus on it and make it perfect.
Absolutely. Thanks again, guys. And I shall see you soon. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.